A lot of people I'm hearing are a little bit confused and don't understand why not integrated oil companies, since both groups do explore for crude.
Because this reflects the risk that the Norwegian government is already taking here in Norway. And removing these companies from the government pension fund global will be a better attempt to reduce our aggregated oil price risk.
But the biggest integrated companies are the biggest ones for exploration. Are you feel confident that this is enough insurance and enough of a hedge, given that they are the biggest ones when it comes to exploring for oil?
But the integrated companies are also the companies that are about to invest more in renewable energy. And if we had withdrawn from those companies as well, we would have reduced the investment scheme to an extent that we don't think is recommendable.
How much do you realistically expect the integrated companies to invest in renewables?
Well, what we see for now is that the investments are growing, and it's an interesting market, and it will be sad if the pension fund would not be able to invest in those companies in the future.
If time goes on and they're not making, say, enough investments in renewables, do you think then you would look at this issue again and possibly drop the integrated companies alongside the fully exploration companies?
The government has taken a final decision today. We have launched a white paper to Parliament, which will take the final decision before we will implement this together with the Norwegian bank. This will be a slow process. But as you're very much aware of, we are constantly monitoring how to develop the investment strategy for the fund, but we do it slowly and also with thorough analysis behind it.
So the next step, it goes to Parliament. Do you think this decision today, because not fully adding the integrated oil companies, was a political compromise?
No, this has been a long process based on advice given to us by the central bank and also by an expert group. We have taken our time, based our decision on financial issues only.
I'm thinking about things like future oil and gas IPOs. You know, Aramco comes to mind. Will Norway Sovereign Wealth Fund be able to buy into future IPOs like that?
We have taken a decision today when it comes to this specific group of oil and gas companies. At the same time, we have been very supportive of the broad investment strategy that has been launched for the fund. The fund is invested in thousands of companies globally and has a small amount of investments in each of these companies. I think that is a strategy that served the fund well, and it's always based on financial views.
I wanted to ask you about something going on just in Europe. Are you concerned about the reports of large Nordic banks implicated in money laundering scandals? Like, do you think this could stem to Norway?
Well, we haven't found any traces of that, but I think all countries are worried about money laundering. That's why it has been taken steps through legislation in Europe and elsewhere to fight money laundering, and I think that's something that's on the agenda constantly, also here in Norway.
Back to the Sovereign Wealth Fund, I forgot to ask you, you are potentially considering whether to let the fund invest in renewable energy infrastructure through its green mandates. Do you think you will do that and broaden the mandate to those cases? Because right now you only invest in publicly traded companies.
We will launch a new white paper on those issues in a few weeks' time.
Oh, okay. It's also International Women's Day, and I'm so happy to be joined by you because your government actually has 3 prime minister and 2 ministers that are female.
4, 5, several ministers.
That are female.
Yes.
So really, females dominate politics in Norway. If you were to see one thing that you would want to be changed around the world, what would it be?
I think to empower more women. I think it's important. Women is actually 50% of the population, and there's really no reason for them not to take steps into leadership in different companies, leadership in politics globally. I think it's good for decision making that it's balanced between men and women.
We've seen a lot of markets move off of the decision today that you announced. You are arguably the most important woman in the market today. How do you feel about that?
Well, we have made a decision today based on reducing the aggregated oil price risk in the Norwegian economy. It has been well announced, and I think that when people realize that this is very balanced decision, it will also come down.